All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Pivot podcast. Thank you for joining us. We do have Tracy off this week as well. She's just starting to feel a little bit better, but hopefully next week we can get Tracy back in the house for the Pivot podcast. However, we have the man, the myth, the legend. Honestly, somebody that I just see anytime this guy speaks, I just get real motivated, psyched up. I don't know what it is about you, Greg, but we got Greg Gilbert in the house. What is up, Greg?
Oh, what's going on with that introduction? I thought you was about to say somebody else. I was like, where's somebody else in the room?
No. That introduction was probably not nearly as good as it should have been. But yeah, man. So I wanted to get you on
Oh, well,
the
thank you.
podcast to kind of go over a couple things that I see again. I mean, anytime that you speak, you just get you get me amped up. I'm like, oh, let's go, let's do it. I mean, the motivation is crazy, which I think probably translates and just kind of attracts people into to what you have going on. So first of all, let's before we get into anything, I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your journey that got you up to this point, and then into the trading world as well.
Oh man, well, yeah, well, thank you. So, first of all, for folks that don't know, I am Gregory Gilbert. Um, I started trading, got interested in trading a few years ago. So, came into just a little bit of income and wanted to find a way to kind of turn that over, and was kind of shopping around in the market or in the world trying to figure out ways, to build wealth. And one of the two things that kept coming up was the first thing that kept coming up was real estate, and obviously real estate just came up because of the circle of people that I was around. And so I dabbled into real estate a little bit. Baltimore, they were having this kind of regentrification project down by the waterfront and by John Hopkins. So they were encouraging folks to take some of the dilapidated homes, invest in them, and you could qualify in this program that would get the incoming students and the current residents and doctors there to kind of rent those houses back from you or buy them from you. Um, but again, I was looking for something to retire on, and doing real estate at that time at that level with the influx of people coming in, that became more work. So that didn't kind of work out. And then I was asking my sister about some other ways to build wealth. And like I say, one of the things was the stock market. Excuse me. One thing was the real estate. The second thing I kept hearing most was the stock market. And I was totally ignorant to that. And anyone in my circle was kind of ignorant to it, other than just investing. Then during my journey, I found out that we really weren't properly investing. Just because you put money into a company, they say you just need time and patience, and obviously not picking the incorrect company, you should make money. But I wanted something a little bit more consistent than that, kind of some ways to kind of pull more money out of it. But anyway, was introduced to this man named Mr. Ted Ignu. Actually, he was turned on to real life trading. So he asked me to watch these videos if I was seriously interested in it, which were the videos that Jeremy taught, the introduction to for beginners traders. So I watched those things, and as Mr. Ignu was away, I kind of reached out to Jeremy via the little chat icon down there. I didn't expect to get a response, but I got a response. And I asked him, if he personally trained, and I expected to get some kind of general automated response again, but it came back as himself and telling me to call him. So trading is something that a lot of people really want to do, but I think that until you're actually given the opportunity to do it, then it becomes real. And I say that to say this. So we often make excuses when it comes to life changing things, and we want them, but when we're kind of presented with those things, I'll speak for myself, I often kind of put my own limitations in front of it, and hoping that, I can blame it on something else why this thing didn't happen, whatever that thing is. But Jeremy asked me, how I wanted to learn how to trade, if I wanted to come to Tennessee or if he wanted to fly here to DC. And I told him I want to do what you do. If you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and use the restroom, I want to get up at 5 o'clock and use the restroom. I just want to mimic everything you did as a day trader. So he told me, unfortunately, he didn't have availability for some time long ways down the line, which kind of gave me a break, kind of released me from having to make a decision at that particular time. But I say within about 2 days, he called me back and said, if you're really interested, you can come out here in 2 weeks. So at that point, I really had to make a life changing decision. And that was kind of scary because this was something that I needed to do that was going to help me move forward with something that I really wanted, or me to make an excuse and not be able to change my life going forward. So I chose the latter, and it was very scary. So I decided to jump on a plane, fly to Mr. Renew Summon, train with him, and never looked back. So that journey started, I want to say, maybe it was November of 2018, something like that, July or November, something like that. But been a real life trading advocate and real life trader ever since, and it was just kind of the best thing that ever happened to
That's
me. I'm still young, so hopefully other things will happen. But I mean, it was great.
right. Well, anything that happens from here on in, I mean, could catapult because of the opportunities that you gave yourself. The one
Oh man.
interesting thing that you said, you want to do what he does, right? So if he wakes up at 5, you want to wake up at 5. He eats an omelet. What? Why is that so important? Why that mentality? Why was that important to you?
Um, when you want to achieve success, they often tell you surround your people that are successful at the things that you want to do. And that was the one thing to me that was important. I wanted to do whatever this guy's regiment was. If he woke up at X amount of time to do a hymn, I wanted to do it. If he wanted to do, really, I was looking for if you got up and did any type of technical research. I really wanted to do those things, but I wanted to be kind of very specific with it. I want to know your regimen. I want to know your habits. I want to build these habits that made you successful, because if I can mimic your habits, then I should be able to replicate that success.
Wow, I like that. So you do have an interesting point because a lot of people, so learning anything, like let's say we're talking about stocks, and we want to talk about certain candles or sentiment or when to get in and when to get out of trades. The habits that you develop outside of the market itself, I would say is extremely important. So the fact that you picked up on that almost immediately, I think, is a huge success because I tell people all the time, if you wake up and you're cranky on a certain day, and something, I mean, you wake up, you get a bad email or something like that, all of that goes into your trading process. And a lot of people miss that when trading. A lot of people would just be like, cool, there's an entry, there's a stop. But in when it's game time, the market's live and people are, I mean, the candles are going crazy. You get news story after news story. Like you have a lot to focus on, and now you don't have control over the emotions and routines. And building that habit is essential. How would you? What are some of your ways besides just mimicking? Like, how do you turn like a hobby into a habit? Like, how do you make something a routine and really cement that into your daily routine as to how you build out your life?
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting. A lot of people like to think that you have habits. No, but you have to develop habits. So case in point, so I try to make a point of I'm up every day at 7 o'clock in the morning. I go through a ritual, whether it's rain, snow, or shine. I walk out on the back deck with a cup of coffee, and I try to keep it within the same time frame, anywhere between 7 o'clock and 7:15 to start this ritual. Sometimes, depending on the night before, it might be a little late, but I want to keep the same habits from sun up to sundown. Go outside with a cup of coffee, kind of take in the elements, kind of give thanks for being here and being able to do the things that we do, and just kind of look around and just take the environment in, and then that helps to for myself, kind of helps to prepare me for the day. I kind of think about the trades that I want to get in, because what I didn't say was the night before, I'm looking at the market, already kind of planning some of the activities, or already kind of plotted some entries, exits, just have some things on a burner, kind of sort of, so when I wake up I go back and check those things. So again, having that morning routine and not letting too many things get you out of alignment, because real life, right? So we have real lives. So there's some times where something might happen, the child being sick or wife not feeling good or so on and so forth, but you want to stay as close to your regiment as possible, because habits are easy to break, regiments form, and regiments become your life consistency. So we don't ever want to kind of develop habits, because habits are easy to break. You want to develop regiments. Regiments become consistent, kind of eventful things, and you feel kind of out of whack when you don't do those regiments or those events. You'll kind of feel off kilter a little bit, for
How
me
long how
anyway.
long do you have
So
to
yeah.
stick with a routine before it becomes a habit?
Well, most people say about 3 weeks, right? The first week you're just kind of fighting through really the first 2 days you're kind of fighting through wanting to do it. But if you're dedicated, you should be able to get through that first week, and then you can get through that first week. That second week you should start feeling kind of, it should become a little bit more natural. That third week you should kind of be locked in. That fourth week, I think, if you're not if you miss something and you're not feeling it, or at least by the fourth week you should be feeling whether or not you missed a step. um, that's obviously that's just my opinion, but
But well, I think
I
everybody's
think that
different, but yeah, I think the general consensus of being able to do it, because even when you trying to go on a new diet or try to work out or something, like the first couple days you're motivated. It's when you lose that motivation that you're like, I don't. It's I think it's not
yeah.
even motivation. I think it's more instant gratification, maybe instant, like
Hmm.
you need to see something. So if you go to the gym for a week or you're dieting for a week and you're like, man, I'm not really losing any. I'm not losing anything. Like what's going? Well, your entire life you ate cheese dogs and Chicago style pizza. Now 1 week of eating healthy, all of a sudden you're like, well, why is it not changing, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's you have to get past that initial point of like, I'm doing it and I'm not seeing results, but I will. And if you could see that light on the other tunnel of look, I'm in the game for a little bit longer than than I should be. You start to see the results eventually, and then you might not see it right away,
Hmm.
but you eventually start building on it. Part of your routine, so you're looking at charts, and you kind of, which I love. You said you have a plan, pretty much planned out the night before for the market. What are some of the
Yeah.
things that you're looking for during that time frame?
Oh, so I'm looking. So I think if you're really looking at your candlesticks, you always want to look at that support and resistance, right? So I'm looking at what it did previously that day of. I'm looking at it from a weekly perspective. So some of these things I don't have to do every day, right? Because the weekly candles aren't going to change. The monthly candle shouldn't change. So I'm looking at the day, and then I'm going into how it may have moved kind of on a 15 or 5 minute time frame also. But yeah, each one of those days, so I'm looking for support, some resistance. I'm looking for, it's kind of funny now. They have this the snapback, right? That we're doing down in RLT, but I had a different snapback. So I like to look for that three bearish candle in a row, kind of slanted, and I call that the snapback or the slingshot. So I'm kind of looking for some of those things, some of those setups also. I try to play the market a little early. I try to, um, if a lot of people are looking for the same things, then a lot of people are looking for the same things. I'm trying to get just a different perspective and try to get in just a little bit early when I do my market analysis also. So I don't just look for the hammers. I look for a hammer, but I might be looking for that bearish hammer where I think a lot of people are looking for that bullish hammer, because I think once you get that momentum and that bearish hammer starts to form, if you can get that follow through, then you have those other little bears that are trapped, that in the morning they might be looking to sell out.
Yeah,
So,
that little bit of a
um,
little bit of an extra. I know. So the snapback
yeah, a little
with real
extra
life
kick.
trading, we're doing that on Tesla. If I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, just knowing your trading style, I believe you like trading a lot of tech stocks. Tech
I
stocks.
do, I do. I definitely
Is
like
there
using
something that a reason why you're drawn more to the tech stocks?
just from my past industry, just my past career field, and plus when I was interested into trading, those were kind of the volatile ones. Those were the ones that gave me the move that I needed, especially when and I know you can remember this a few years back when we were doing the moderator. We were looking for the 10-cent moves or the
Yeah,
nickel moves, that those challenges, so those kind of gave you the most kind of bang for your buck. No,
yeah.
yeah, pun very much intended with that.
You picked a
But
good industry. So I mean, you kind of have a little bit of advantage because you come from a little bit of the tech industry background. Um, Obviously, we're trading off more charts than fundamentals, but to
oh yeah, it
know what
helps.
kind of companies you're trading and why you're trading them, that also helps build a little confidence when clicking the buttons. With the tech industry, though, I would say like you're looking for that bang for the buck. The tech industry moves probably more like you. Coca-Cola is never going to move the same way that Tesla's going to move or AMD is going to. It's just not. It's just too. They got the dividends. People are sitting on them in their retirements. It makes sense, but something like Tesla or
Yep,
AMD or
yep.
Nvidia or any of those companies, Square, PayPal, those guys are going to move because there's nothing really holding them back. They're not in a blue chip type field, maybe as of yet.
Yeah.
Tesla possibly, but you're very newsbound. So as soon as something comes out, you're getting a lot of momentum into a
That is
lot of
true.
those stocks, bullish or bearish. How do you
So
deal with that volatility
I
though?
like the volatility. I mean, that helps me whether that helps me determine if I'm going to be in a trade all day or if I'm not going to be in a trade all day. No one. Well, I'll speak for myself again. I don't want to be in a trade all day. I want to be in within the first 15 minutes and be out within the first 2 hours. I don't want to sit in front of the screen all day. I like making early dividends if possible or early green if possible. And then the volatility aspect, whether it's bullish or bearish, I came into the industry as a bearish trader. So that right there, I can look for the bull setup or the bear setup. But like I said, that goes back to how I was introduced to Jeremy. One of the things that I told him is I wanted to learn how to make money when the stock market is going down. So yeah, I look for those gap downs. I like for that the I don't care which way the market goes. I can make money either direction.
Is when you're planning out your trades the night before, are you looking more? Are you pretty much planning for day trades, or are you swing trading as well?
So I am more actively doing swing trades. I just opened up another account, and this account I'm opening up is I'm going to trade a couple companies, GM1 in particular, to help me buy that anniversary edition Corvette. So I'm doing that with some swing trades, and I'm doing that with some day trades also. So
That's a pretty car. That's a pretty car.
yeah, very much so.
All right, Greg. So I did want to ask you a question that I'll ask people when they're on the mic or off. But what? Why do you trade?
Oh, so I wanted time back. I wanted my life back. I wanted to control my financial future. I just wanted to be able to trade or make money wherever I was at, as long as I had an internet connection. I just wanted something more, just my freedom back, and yeah, controlling my finances, controlling my freedom, controlling my leisure, and not being a corporate slave.
Gotcha. With so within the real life trading community, I will say probably out of every I mean, obviously, I've never been to every single community out there, but I could speak for this one for sure. The traders themselves are some of the most giving people I've seen. As far as, well, I mean, we have the Real Life Trading Foundation, we have people giving their time. So um, when new traders come into a community, could be trading, could be anything. I feel like a lot of times they're going to be a little bit more on the shy side, right? They're like, I don't know, like, what if they know something I don't, and then I'm just being I sound stupid in the group and all that stuff. Honestly, with this community, I feel like that's not the case. Whether whether it's somebody that is a real life trading moderator, somebody that's running a group, whatever the case, uh, traders in the group themselves that are just in the community are more than willing to help somebody learn how to trade, learn their setups, be like, hey, watch out for this trade because of XYZ, or no, this trade looks great. Thanks for helping me find it. All that stuff. You in particular, though, you're in the community. So you mentioned like, hey, I took a shot, I took a flight out to meet with Jeremy. I mean, that's not first of all, it's not normal. I will say that, Greg. I mean, you're just like, you know what? I believe it. I'm doing it. Let's go, and it works, right? But other people might not be there yet. You've learned your setups. You've learned how to trade. You've learned. I mean, you've seen the real results of what just following the process, the plan. You've talked about the plan, what that does for you personally and for your life. And I would say you were definitely 100% an advocate of real life trading, and you've gone even a step further as far as like, hey, I want to help other people be able to do what I did. And we see it. So you're hosting right now. You're hosting one of the real life trading meetups that
Yep,
meets. I believe it's once a month, correct?
correct. It's the second Wednesday of every month, the Washington D.C. stock market meetup.
Gotcha. What is the typical people that will attend that group?
So we have your novice to, I guess some folks say that they're experts on there, but it's definitely my focus for the novice, right, is to introduce people to the market because the market is still, um, I don't want to say taboo, but a lot of people are still uneducated about the power of the market, and it's just about ways that you can make money in the market. But I would be remiss if I don't go back and touch on what you were speaking about the community of real life trading, right? So yes, I am part of that community, and it is a community that the I'm not sure if it's the motto or what phrase you would want to call it, but the part where it's about enriching lives, that's absolutely 100% true. And it's not just around the stock market. I mean, there's something about the real life trading community, the family, that folks just want to help each other. You yourself, you've helped me in so many ways. Jeremy, Matt, just Arabia, just so many people in this community. I'll put it to you like this. So Matt, the last gentleman that you had on the real life on your podcast, mentioned about how he just reached out to someone and how folks were just willing to help with whatever it was. That's just a community about real life trading, and it's contagious. You kind of feel weird if you don't want to join or help out. And that's the one thing that kept me here. That's the one thing that makes me an advocate for real life trading. It's just the foundation and the community, the family around this organization. So yes, the real life trading DC stock market meetup just allows me to reintroduce other people in this area, and by it being remote now and on Zoom, actually anywhere, to kind of introduce them to the stock market at the most introductory level and to the intermediate level, but just to let folks know that there is a way that you can make money in the stock market, and it doesn't have to be um, you don't have to be scared, you don't have to be afraid, you don't have to be leery, you don't have to be apprehensive, because you will have the training, and again, most importantly, the community and the family to help you along your journey. Folks that will want to help you in your journey. So again, that's the important thing to me. I mean, the
Yeah, and
family.
I think your group stands out, at least to me. So we what we put together is because obviously we have people all over the world in the real life trading communities, or trading in the community. So we're like, all right, I think it's a good idea for people that are local to themselves. Be like, hey, yeah, oh, you live 15 minutes from me, or you live an hour from me. We should meet up, and I think that was the idea to get more localized. Again, I don't know, maybe it's just the energy that radiates out of you, but your group, it's almost taken on a life of its own, from what I see. I mean, it's probably the energy you radiate, but it's also the dedication that you have to that group, where
Well, thank you.
you're getting people from all over. It's not even like you have a lot of people from your local area, but there's people just signing into the Zoom just to learn really what Greg Gilbert and the guests that you bring on and stuff like that. And it's more, uh, people getting a lot of education from that actual group. You're also putting out the write ups on kind of the markets and sending it out to people. So it's just a lot of information that people are able to capture, uh, from what you have going on in the markets, that I think people are drawn really to that meetup for sure. How
Yeah.
does, if somebody is listening to this podcast and is interested in attending that meetup, and again, it is 100% free to attend. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely, it is. Yep,
How would they
100%
how would
free.
they go about learning more, getting on the list to send out to get the invite link to your group?
So you could go to www.meetup.com. You could search for a real life trading Washington D.C. stock market meetup, or just do Washington D.C. and just do stock market. I'm pretty sure we will be listed there. And I appreciate those kind words that you gave, Dan, about the stock market meetup and how it's taking on a life of its own. But that was not by my doing alone. It was from special guest hosts like you, special guests from other special guests that I had there, because the one thing that I want to keep the theme of that's around real life trading is education, right? Free education and dispelling myths. So I want to make sure that I am putting forth that gospel that real life trading is about. And the other thing is with the just the amount of all these trading rooms and stock market this and stock market that, and I see that there's certain people out there can become prey to these things. I've gotten emails asking people to join up with these trading companies, and they want you to, buy $500 worth of Bitcoin and then tell a friend. And then, I'm like, I'm not going to knock anything that anyone does, but I know real life trading is really about, if you really want to learn how to trade the market, this is where you could start. So
Got you.
again,
Yeah.
I appreciate those things about the stock market meetup, but yeah, it's definitely RLT based.
Yeah, 100%. And again with the Pivot podcast, so we do have a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are relatively new to the market. And I by the way, I consider new. I mean, if you're trading 5 years in
I'm
the
still
market,
new.
I think you're still new. There's always I've been doing this for a while, and I'd still say I'm new. There's always something else to learn in the market, or getting into futures, or getting into the crypto, or whatever the case. New strategies that come out. The market acts different ways, and there's different ways to tackle it. So, I use that word loosely, but or people that are in the market struggling, just trying to find out a new concept, a new. Even if
Yep,
you get one new piece of education in the market, that could help you with your P&L at the end of the year immensely, right? So,
absolutely.
what's some advice? I want the Greg Gilbert advice to a new trader of what they should be either doing to learn in the markets, or how something that they could do personally in their own life that you think would help them on their trading journey, or just what is something that you could give if you could give one piece of advice to a trader.
Get education. Education is the key. And education, I kind of is a relative term, right? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be book smart, right? If you don't want to take the time to open up a book or watch videos, get with someone that's doing it. Get with someone that's doing something that whatever you want to do. And if it is the stock market, find someone who's successful at it. And again, your term success is relative, right? So just find someone who's doing something that you want to do and that's meeting a goal that you see yourself meeting. Education is the key, and that's with anything, right? So you're gonna pay for it. What do they call it? Market tuition. When the market takes the money from you,
Yeah.
but you'll learn. Now, hopefully, you'll have the capital to survive that market tuition, or you can, um, invest in yourself. Hashtag invest in yourself.
Got
But
the
either
hoodie
way, get the
hoodie on and
education.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. Temperature
I
dropped here today.
Yeah, when you talk market tuition, it's almost like you're going to pay the tuition no matter what.
No matter what.
It's either you pay, you're like, okay, I could buy this course, or I could invest in a group, or I could, and then you got some people like, no, I don't want to. Why spend that money? And then they end up losing a lot more because they didn't spend the money, and that typically the latter costs a lot more than just
Oh yeah,
doing it the correct way. So people sometimes will look at it as a bill, but if you look at it as an investment, I mean,
yeah.
you like your hoodie says, invest in yourself.
Invest in
You're
yourself.
going to save so much more money, and then when the time comes, you're like, you get that aha moment. You're like, oh, that's what I should be doing in the market. You didn't already blow your entire account up, and now you got to try to figure out how to build the account.
How to get it back? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so do things slow, do it the right way. I 100% agree with that. We're just about out of time for the Pivot Podcast. Any other comments? Anything else that you wanted to cover? Any questions that you have?
I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to be on here, and I see that you guys are doing something that is very, very special, and it's going to add a lot of content and very, very valuable for any of the folks that are interested in joining the market, getting educated on the market, and just hearing about some of the market gossip that's out there. So, no questions. Just wanted to thank you guys
Man,
and
appreciate
keep
that.
keep up the good work.
Always welcome on here. Anytime you just shoot me a text, Greg, and we'll get you back on here because I mean the wealth of knowledge that comes from you. Also, guys, don't forget to check out the DC meetup. Be there once a month.
But
It's a Wednesday night with Greg Gilbert.
second Wednesday of every month at
Second
7:30. Second
second Wednesday,
Wednesday,
7:30 Eastern, correct?
7:30 Eastern.
Eastern, beautiful. And then thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Real Life Trading Pivot Podcast. Tracy, we're hoping she is back intact for next week. Otherwise, Greg, appreciate having you on and helping us out with this Pivot Podcast. You guys are great. Appreciate you guys listening each and every week to the Pivot Podcast, and we'll see you real soon.